This is a STEARsoft Cloud Server tutorial about permissions. As the administrator, you have three areas you ought to be aware of about permissions. First of all, user groups. There are three main user groups: power teachers, teachers, and guests. The main user group is teachers. This will be most of your users, but power teachers have a few extra privileges. You can also set up the class access right so that guests have slightly reduced access privileges, so that maybe they can only view information and not change it. There's a fourth account type, of course, which is the administrator, yourself. When you are the administrator, if you log into the main area, you will be acting as a power teacher. So you have this extra area, the administrator area, that you can reach, but nobody else can. But when you're in the main area, you act as a power teacher, so you have power teacher permissions everywhere else. So let's have a look at that. This is the administrator area. If I exit this, this is the main login welcome screen. So you as the administrator can come into this area. No one else can. All other users, power teachers, teachers and guests, should come to the teacher login area. From here, they'll have their class list and they'll have their timetable and a link to all school data. Now, as the administrator, you might be a teacher as well, so you can have your own classes and timetable, and when you're in here, you'll see those. Back into the administrator area, you can set up which teachers which users have which user groups. So we can edit this one, for instance, to be a power teacher. That's user groups. Let's see how those affect class access rights. So class access rights, this is the second thing you ought to be aware of. Down here, edit class access rights. So each class can have its own permissions. These are the default permissions when creating new classes. So there are two types of classes: priority classes and regular classes. Priority classes are typically your morning and afternoon legal registrations. You could choose it to mean something else, but that's typically what they are. And these are the permissions for these types of accounts. Now, any particular class is owned by a teacher, and that teacher will have read and write access to that class. So they own a particular class and they have access to it. So this is for other teachers, not the owning teacher, but other teachers. So other teachers might only have read access. Your power teachers, typically on the front desk and heads of year, they'll probably be taking phone calls, and then they'll need to update to put in absence notes and things on the attendance sheet. So they will probably need write access. It might be that other teachers will want to be able to cover registrations and do that directly rather than via some alternate means where a front desk person then updates the system. So if you want other teachers to directly be able to go in and cover another teacher's attendance session, then you need to give them write access. You can set it up separately for the other ones as well. Anyway, this is when setting the default access rights when new classes are created. It doesn't change the classes we already have, but if we tick this box, it will also update the current classes we have with these permissions. So let's do that. Let's confirm and continue. So we have looked at user groups, and we've looked at class access rights and how those user groups can have different access rights for different classes. What about the extra privileges? So, as a power teacher, if a power teacher is looking at the all school data, then if they go to the settings area, there are some extra options that power teachers have. They can update the central student list, they can set future term dates, they can fill attendance for the whole school, for instance if it's closed. They can create an account activation code for a teacher. Okay, so they have a few extra privileges. The last thing that you ought to be aware of with this is that under here there is a customize options, and in here there are some specific tick boxes which let you set up where the power teachers and teachers can do certain things. That's it for permissions. Thank you for listening.